I started experiencing what I can only describe as a blast furnace in my stomach.
I was really sweaty, I was really out of breath.
Pains going down my left arm.
Some days I couldn't even get out of the bed.
And I kept telling people I didn't feel good, and nobody was listening.
I was misdiagnosed for 48 years.
My heartbeat is strong and regular. I am at peace.
Nice to see everyone.
It started out that I just felt a little off. And I just said to myself, there's something wrong with me, but it's not in my head. Well, our time has come to an end, so I just want to say goodbye to my WomenHeart sisters, and I'll see you all next week. My heart would sometimes race, and sometimes I'd get a little dizzy, or I have a little chest pain. I'd get really tired. I knew I had high cholesterol, but I had always been healthy. When I would go to the doctors and describe how I was feeling, they would just tell me, it's anxiety, it's stress, you live a stressful life. I told them that my father died from a heart attack when he was 52, and my brother the same thing at 48. I would come home from work so exhausted, and I have no choice but to retire. I really pushed my primary care physician to give me a referral to a cardiologist. I wore a heart monitor for 3 days. They saw nothing. He said, something is off. And he said, there's one more test that I could run, and then I'm sure that you're fine, but I need to run an angiogram. And I'm very grateful he did.
Historically, heart disease has been researched mostly in men, and so it was considered for a long time a man's disease. And it wasn't really until the 90s that women started being recognized more and more for having heart disease. And now we know that heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women, but the higher numbers of misdiagnosed people tend to skew towards women still today. And yet many women don't know risks that they have for heart disease.
When I went in for the angiogram, I thought it was going to be nothing, that they wouldn't find anything. Lying there and hearing the surgeon just gasp, and he said, oh no, 98% blockage. I almost had a heart attack. And he said, Denise, I just want you to understand, you are my miracle, because if you hadn't insisted, who knows, you were a ticking time bomb.
WomenHeart is an organization that was started by 3 women who had really awful times of getting diagnosed with their heart disease. We support, educate, and advocate for women living with and at risk of heart disease, regardless of their backgrounds. Oh, there you go.
I wish I had known that high cholesterol could lead to heart disease. Finding WomenHeart and getting educated on what was going on with me and my body was so vital.
It can be harder for doctors to recognize heart disease in women, because if they don't find a blockage in the major arteries, they may say it's not heart disease. But what we know to be true, especially in women, is that the blockage may be in the microvasculature, and therefore they're not going to see it on their traditional diagnostic tests that they typically run.
This is such a special event to be able to come together like this. It's not every day that we get to.
It took me 6 years to get a diagnosis of heart disease, and by that point, I was on the brink of a heart attack. I think there's no better medicine than having someone who can relate to you.
For me, something that I struggled with is being young, and my motto for that is that a diagnosis doesn't have to be a death sentence.
Yeah.
There's a sisterhood with WomenHeart that makes me grateful for my heart attack in 2006, because I can't imagine my life without all of my heart sisters. I really can't.
Sometimes women delay seeking care because they're just not sure that these symptoms are serious. Well, I'm here to say, women, we have to think about ourselves, because the way that you can be there for other people is to be there for yourself so that you can be here for the long run.
It could have gone the other way. And I have to say, it's because I pushed, and I'm grateful that I found a doctor who listened. I feel really good about the future. I feel that there's so much left for me to do. But I have today, and I'm extremely grateful for it.